A long time ago, in a land far from the cities we know today, lived a young man named Joseph. He wasn't a king or a warrior. He didn't have armies or wealth, but he had something powerful: dreams. And those dreams would take him on a journey from the depths of a dark pit to the heights of a palace. This is not just a story about a boy in a colorful coat. It's about betrayal, faith, and how even the worst moments in life can lead to something greater than we ever imagined. Let's begin. Joseph was the 11th of 12 brothers, sons of a man named Jacob. Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other sons. Maybe it was because Joseph was the firstborn of his favorite wife, Rachel, or maybe it was because Joseph was a dreamer with a good heart. To show his love, Jacob gave Joseph a special gift: a beautiful coat made of many colors, bright, rich, and unlike anything his brothers had. Now imagine you're one of those brothers. You're working hard in the fields every day, getting dirty and tired, while your little brother struts around in a rainbow robe. Not exactly a recipe for family harmony, and it didn't help that Joseph kept having strange dreams. In one dream, he saw himself and his brothers binding sheaves of grain in the field, and suddenly all of their bundles bowed down to his. In another, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed to him. He told his family about the dreams. His father wondered what they meant, but his brothers, they were furious. "Do you think you're going to rule over us?" they scoffed. Their anger was growing, and one day it boiled over. Jacob sent Joseph out to the fields to check on his brothers, who were tending sheep far from home. When they saw him coming, his colorful coat flapping in the wind, they made a plan. "Here comes the dreamer," they whispered. "Let's get rid of him." Reuben, the oldest, convinced them not to kill Joseph. "Let's just throw him into this empty pit," he said, planning to rescue him later. So they stripped off Joseph's coat and tossed him into a dry, dark hole in the ground. While Joseph cried out from the pit, the brothers sat down to eat. That's when a caravan of traders came by, men on camels, heading to Egypt. "Why not make a little money?" one of the brothers said. "Let's sell him." And just like that, they pulled Joseph out of the pit and handed him over for 20 pieces of silver. Their own brother sold like an object. They took his colorful coat, dipped it in goat's blood, and brought it home to their father. "We found this," they said. "Is it Joseph's?" Jacob was crushed. He believed a wild animal had killed his son. He tore his clothes, covered himself in sackcloth, and mourned for days. Meanwhile, Joseph was taken far from home to Egypt, a land of towering pyramids and strange gods. There he was sold to a man named Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the king. But Joseph didn't give up. Even as a slave, he worked hard, stayed honest, and soon Potiphar trusted him with everything. Joseph ran the household like a pro. Things were looking up until temptation came knocking. Potiphar's wife noticed Joseph. He was strong, handsome, and always around. She tried again and again to get him to sleep with her, but Joseph refused. "How could I do such a thing?" he said. "It would be a sin against God." One day when they were alone, she grabbed his cloak and demanded he stay. Joseph ran, leaving his cloak behind. That's when she screamed. She told everyone Joseph had tried to attack her. Potiphar was furious, and Joseph, he was thrown into prison. From beloved son to betrayed brother, from trusted servant to a prisoner in a foreign land. Even in prison, Joseph worked hard. He helped the guards, earned their trust, and eventually was put in charge of the other prisoners. He made the best of the worst situation, and soon his gift for understanding dreams would come back. This time, not just for him, but for others. 2 new prisoners were thrown into the same prison as Joseph, Pharaoh's chief baker and his chief cupbearer. Both of them had strange dreams one night. They woke up disturbed and confused. Joseph noticed and asked, "Why do you look so sad today?" They explained their dreams, unsure what they meant. Joseph said, "Interpretations belong to God. Tell me your dreams." The cupbearer went first. He dreamed of a vine with 3 branches that blossomed and produced grapes. In the dream, he squeezed the grapes into Pharaoh's cup and handed it to him. Joseph listened and smiled. "In 3 days," he said, "Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position." Encouraged, the baker shared his dream next. He had 3 baskets of bread on his head, and birds came and ate from the top basket. Joseph's face grew serious. "In 3 days," he said gently, "Pharaoh will lift off your head. You will be executed." 3 days later, Pharaoh's birthday, it all happened exactly as Joseph said. Before the cupbearer was released, Joseph pleaded with him, "Please remember me, mention me to Pharaoh. I was taken from my homeland unfairly. I've done nothing to deserve prison." But the cupbearer forgot. For 2 long years, Joseph waited. No word, no rescue, just silence. Then, one day, Pharaoh himself had 2 disturbing dreams. In the first, 7 fat cows came out of the Nile, followed by 7 thin, sickly cows. The thin cows ate the fat ones, but stayed just as skinny. In the second dream, 7 healthy ears of grain were swallowed up by 7 thin, scorched ones. None of Pharaoh's magicians or wise men could explain what it meant. That's when the cupbearer finally remembered. "Pharaoh, I know someone," he said. "Back in prison, there was a young Hebrew who interpreted my dream, and he got it exactly right." Pharaoh immediately sent for Joseph. Joseph shaved, changed his clothes, and was brought before the most powerful man in Egypt. Pharaoh asked, "Can you interpret dreams?" Joseph answered humbly, "I can't, but God can. Tell me your dreams." After listening carefully, Joseph explained, "The 2 dreams mean the same thing. Egypt will have 7 years of great harvests, followed by 7 years of severe famine. God is warning you so you can prepare." Then Joseph did something bold. He offered advice. Choose a wise and trustworthy man. Appoint him to collect grain during the good years, so there will be food during the famine. Pharaoh and his advisors were stunned. Can we find anyone like this man, in whom is the Spirit of God? And right then and there, Joseph, the prisoner, the foreigner, was made the 2nd most powerful man in all of Egypt. Pharaoh gave him his signet ring, royal robes, and a gold chain. He even gave Joseph a new name and arranged a marriage for him. From prison to palace, just like that. But Joseph's greatest challenge was yet to come, because one day, the very brothers who sold him into slavery would walk into his court, hungry and desperate, without even recognizing him. And Joseph would have to decide, would he punish them or forgive them? The years rolled by. Just as Joseph had predicted, Egypt flourished for 7 years. Grain overflowed from the storehouses. Fields stretched golden in the sun. Joseph oversaw it all, carefully storing away food, preparing for what was coming. And when the famine hit, it hit hard. Not just Egypt, but the whole region, nations far and wide, were starving. And back in Canaan, Joseph's father Jacob and his brothers were hungry too. When they heard there was grain in Egypt, Jacob said to his sons, "Why are you just sitting here? Go to Egypt and buy us food, or we'll die." So 10 of Joseph's brothers set out on a long journey. not knowing they were walking straight into the arms of the brother they betrayed. The brothers arrived in Egypt and were brought before Joseph, the governor in charge of all food distribution. They didn't recognize him. How could they? It had been years. He wore royal clothes, spoke Egyptian, and held the power of a king. But Joseph knew them. As they bowed before him, Joseph remembered his dreams from long ago about his brothers bowing down to him. His heart raced, but instead of revealing himself, he spoke harshly. "Where are you from?" he asked. "From the land of Canaan," they replied, "to buy food." Joseph accused them of being spies. They panicked and explained they were all sons of one man and had a younger brother still at home. Joseph wanted to test them. He kept one brother, Simeon, in prison and sent the rest home with grain, but only if they promised to return with their youngest brother, Benjamin. Back in Canaan, Jacob was heartbroken. He had already lost Joseph. Simeon was now gone. And now they wanted to take Benjamin. But when the food ran out again, Jacob had no choice. "If it must be done," he said, "take Benjamin, and may God protect you." When the brothers returned, Joseph saw Benjamin, his full brother, for the first time in years. He was overwhelmed and had to step away to cry. Still, Joseph wasn't done testing them. He ordered his servant to secretly place his silver cup in Benjamin's bag. Then, after they had left the city, Joseph sent guards to chase them down. When the cup was found, the brothers were devastated. Joseph said Benjamin would stay as his slave, and the rest could go free. But Judah stepped forward. "Take me instead," he begged. "If Benjamin doesn't come home, it will kill our father. Please, let him go." Joseph couldn't hold it in anymore. He ordered everyone else out of the room, then began to weep. "I am Joseph," he said. "Is my father still alive?" His brothers were speechless, afraid, ashamed. But Joseph didn't seek revenge. "Don't be afraid," he said. "What you meant for harm, God used for good, to save lives." He forgave them, he embraced them, and he told them to bring their father and the entire family to Egypt, where they would have food and safety. Joseph's story reminds us that betrayal doesn't have to be the end, that dark pits can lead to bright futures, and that forgiveness is stronger than revenge. Whatever pit you may find yourself in, there's still purpose, still hope, and still a dream waiting to unfold. Thank you for watching To Joseph in Egypt, a story of dreams, betrayal, and destiny. If you were inspired by this story, share it with someone who needs a reminder that hope, forgiveness, and purpose are never far away, even when life feels like a pit. Like, comment, and subscribe for more timeless stories.